from RTO here. Hope you're all well. Welcome to another Marathon Wednesday. This one is a viewer's request. Quite a lot of you have asked for this one, and it's Blue Öyster Cult. One of my favourite American bands, without a doubt. And we've got 15 albums to go through today, but I'm going to take it in two parts. Just to give my poor old voice a rest and my mouth some relaxation. As you know, if you're first watching this for the first time, I'm at the moment suffering with Bell's palsy, hence the sunglasses. But as I say, if the future's bright, better wear shades. So, formed in 1967. That main classic lineup, of course, Eric Bloom on vocals and guitars, Donald Rosa on lead guitar and vocals, Alan Lanier on the keyboards, Joe Bouchard on the bass, and his brother Albert Bouchard on the drums. Sold for over 25 million records worldwide. Pretty cool, isn't it? 7 million of them in the United States, but they are big over here. I love them. So as I said, we've got 15 albums. I'm going to take after album 7, when we get to number 7, I'm going to take a little break, but you won't notice. All you'll notice is a fade in and fade out. So it will not spoil your pleasure. So, coming in at number 15 then, we go to the 11th album, released in 1988, Imaginos. This features Eric Bloom on vocals, Albert Bouchard on the drums, Joe Bouchard on the bass, Alan Lanier on the keyboards, Donald Rosa on the guitars. So the first track on here is called I Am the One You Warned Me Of. I love the riffs in this. Great riffs. Great vocal from Eric. Really strong track. Like that one a lot. There's Invisibles. It's okay. What spoils this? That 80s sounding keyboards. I just don't get it. Why do you have to have this smooth, clean 80s sounding keyboards? We don't need it in Blue Öyster Cult. In the Presence of Another World, classic sort of sounding Blue Öyster Cult track with a nice guitar tones, great vocal from Eric as ever, great stuff. Then we get Del Rio's song. Oh dear, I don't like the production on this. The drums, Albert's drums just sound, well, they don't even sound like drums. It's just pretty bad, shall we say. Then we get my favourite track on the album. Now this is a mouthful. The Siege and Investiture of Baron von Frankenstein's Castle at Vessia. Brilliant. Brilliant track. Great guitar solo here from Don. I just love listening to this track. Of them, one of the best 80s tracks they did. Really strong, that late 80s sound. Astronomy. Very 80s, not very Blue Öyster Cult, I'm afraid. Magna Revölution. What have they done to poor Albert's drum here? It doesn't even sound like Blue Öyster Cult. It's a shame. It's a shame. Blue Öyster Cult, the track, just overproduced 80s. Really spoils a good track. And then we get Imaginos. It's just more of that 80s sounding American pop rubbish that I just don't like. There's some really bad tracks on here. I very rarely play this album. The only time I ever play it is from The Siege and Investiture of Frankenstein. Some of it doesn't even sound like Blue Öyster Cult to me. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay then, coming at number 14, It's the 10th album, released in 1985, and it's Club Ninja. Now this is the tour that I saw them on. I was so excited. I've never been so excited to see a band as I was when I went to see Blue Öyster Cult. Of course, on here, this album is that great lineup: Eric Bloom, Don Rosa, Joe Bouchard. Got Tommy Vontek doing some keyboards. Percussion was a guy called Jimmy Wilcox, because Albert had sort of gone on. It also features Tommy Price on drums, and Howard Stern does a little bit of vocal on When the War Comes. Opens up with White Flags. On the album, it doesn't sound very good. It's just 80s. But when they did this live, it sounds much better live. It's one of them tracks. In the studio, it's super smooth and clean, 80s. On stage, it's just good fashion rock, and I prefer the live version. Then we get Dancing in the Ruins. 280s for me. I just couldn't get on with that track. Make Rock Not War. Horrible drumming, horrible keyboards. But what I can remember when I saw this live, it's a lot better live. It's got that proper rock feel to it. Perfect Water. I don't mind this track. It's not a bad track. It's got a great guitar solo from Don in it. Really good. Then we get Spy in the House of Night, which it's got a great opening riff. Hate the keyboards on it, but I take that away and it's a really good track. Beat Them Up, one of the better songs on the album. Great little rocker, this proper rock track from the band. Great track. When the War Comes, love Howard Stern's little cameo in this. Actually a good track. I like that one. Then we get my favourite track on here, Shadow Warrior. It's a fantastic track. Okay, the drums sound very 80s, but it's a great track and it's great live. I actually found some of this on YouTube. It's some of, there's not much of them at this time, but I wanted to just listen to some of these tracks to see what they sound like live again, and I did find this one, and I think it's a great track. Madness to the Method. It's okay, just overproduced. That's all I can say. There's some great songs on this album, but it's the production again. I've seen them. Having seen them on this tour, I know these songs from this album are pretty good live. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Coming number 13, then we have the 12th album, released in 1994, and it's called Cult Classic. It's basically new recordings of versions of other in, so it's a re-recorded greatest hits album. On here we've got Eric Bloom, Donald Rosa, Anna Lanya. John Rogers is on bass now. Chuck Berge on the drums. And on here we've got re-recorded versions of Don't Fear the Reaper, ETI, ME, This Ain't the Summer of Love, Burning for You, Odd on Life Itself, Flaming Telepaths, Godzilla, Astronomy. Now that's a pretty good version. In fact, it's better than on Imaginos. I like that version better. Cities on a Flame with Rock and Roll, Have Survived, Bucks Boogie. That's your, then you get a couple of TV mixes of Don't Fear the Reaper and Godzilla. It's not a bad little greatest hits album. Some of it sounds better than the original. It just sits there, doesn't it? It's not an album that I play a great deal, but I've got it because it's a Blue Öyster Cult album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 12. Go to the 8th album now, released in 1981. Fire of Unknown Origin. On here we've got Eric, Don, Alan, Joe and Albert. That great lineup. First track on here, if me things doesn't stop moving around, is The Fire of Unknown Origin. This one isn't too bad. Still got that horrible 80s keyboard or come poking its head up already. Take that away, it's still a good track. Burning for You, I don't mind this one. I like the guitar work from Don. Joe's boost bass line, pretty awesome. Great track. Veteran of Psychic Wars, pretty good track. Like Albert's drumming on this. I love his style of drumming, it's pretty cool. Soul Survivor, this is the Bouchards doing what the Bouchards are good at. That bass line and drums, they seem to be okay. Is it because they're brothers? I don't know, but they seem to really get in the groove on that. And then you get some great keyboards from Alan. It's a pretty good track, like that one. Heavy Metal, the Black and Silver, love the start of this. Great guitar work from Don, really gets into the groove. Then we get Vengeance, the Pact. Again, Joe's bass line really drives this song. Terrific song. After Dark, oh, another good track. I like the start, that bass from Joe. Albert comes in, Alan puts a little bit of keyboards on, it's just really good. And then when you throw in some guitar work and some singing from Eric, it's a perfect Blue Öyster Cult track, isn't it? Joan Crawford. Now, I love this track. I remember when they did this live. Brilliant. It's my favourite track on this album, and it was one of my favourite tracks from that show. Absolutely brilliant. Don't Turn Your Back, not a bad track. Got some great work as usual from Don. Mixed bag on this one. Got some good tracks, got some very bad 80s tracks, but you know, it's an album for the times, I think. But I do enjoy listening to this because it's got one of my favourite tracks on it, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay then, coming in at number 11, we go to the 9th album now, released in 1983, The Revölution by Night. By this time Albert's not with them, so we've got Eric Bloom, Donald Rosier, Anna Lanya, Joe Bouchard, and the one and only drumming performance by Rick Downey. Take Me Away, nice little rocker to open up the album. Good track, solid riffs, great singing from Eric as usual. Good track. Eyes on Fire, great opening. This to me is very space rock. That's probably why I like it. It's got that bit of that early UFO and Hawkwind sound. Pretty good track, I like that one. Shooting Shark, great track. Interesting arrangement, but that's what makes this band good, because they don't mind having a go at something different, and I like that track. Then we get Rains, again very interesting, although the 80s keyboard isn't particularly interesting. Shadow of California, a little bit of that 1970s feel to it, pretty good. Feel the Thunder, the production on this lets it down. I just don't like that track at all. Let Go, this is one of my favourite tracks on this album. It's one of what I call proper BOC. The classic sound, that great guitar tone, great track. Dragon Lady, great rocker. Mr. Rosa, what guitar work on this, love that track. Like Years of Love, again not very keen on this one, it's just a bit too 80s and clean for me. Although this album has got some good songs on it, I think the production again just lets it down in places. It's just that typical 80s sounding unfortunately. But I do like a few of the tracks on here, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay then, coming in at number 10. Got to the top 10 already. The sixth album released in 1979, Mirrors. Eric, Donald, Alan, Joe and Albert. Opens up with Doctor Music. Classic. Love that opening riff. Great rocker. Love that track. The Great Sun Jester. Nice gentle rocker. Very gentle. But it's got a great guitar solo in it from Don. Solid track. Then we get in the middle of a road sort of sound on this. A little bit Eagles in places. Still a very good tune though. Then we get the title track, Mirrors. This is good. I love that late 70s rock sound, and these were the diamond at it. It's a great track. Moon Crazy is the next track. Again, one of them nice little middle of the road tracks on the album. Very gentle, but I love the song. Great song. Then we get my favourite track, The Vigil. One of my favourites. Love them driving riffs. Some great drumming from Albert on this. Superb track. Love listening to that one. I Am the Storm. Another good track. Great rocker. Riffs are great. The guitar solo's good. What more can you say? You're Not the One I Was Looking For. Now, this reminds me a bit of glam rock from Mark Bolan. It's in that vein. Probably why I like the track so much. It's pretty good. Then with the last track on this album is... there's something wrong with my mouse today. I think I might have to change the battery. Lonely Teardrops. It's okay. Solid track. Nothing wrong with that one. This is a really good album. I enjoy this one a lot. It's got a little bit different, little mixtures in here. You've got some nice heavy tracks, some nice lighter. It's an excellent album. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 9, we have the 7th album, released in 1980, Cultosaurus Erectus. Eric, Don, Alan, Joe and Albert. My favourite lineup. And our first track on this one is Black Blade. Love the keyboards on this. Alan's on fire. That's a great riff as well. Monsters, what can you say? Just a great track. Favourite on the album. I think everyone loves Monsters. Love the riffs in this. Divided Wind, bit of that bluesy rock. Love Joe's bass line on this. It's absolutely marvellous. Deadline, another great track. Bit weird, but the bass line is quite funky. The Marshall Plan, solid rock track, good stuff. Really like that track. Hungry Boys, this one's interesting. I feel this one's got a bit of that post-punk feel to it at the beginning. That sort of beat that you get from the Jam, the Police at the time, and it's really good. Great guitar work from Don though. Fallen Angel, another really good track. Love Donald's guitar work on that. It's just brilliant. Lips in the Hills, classic Colt here. Great drumming on this from Albert. Terrific stuff. Unknown Tongue, solid track. Can't not like that one. Really good. Another solid album. Some great tracks on this album. Play this a lot. And I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we go to the 15th. It's the most current album. It's called The Symbol Remains. Different lineup in here. It marks the recording debut of longtime members Jules Radinho drums and Richie Castanello on guitars. And it's the first album to not feature Alan, since who died sadly in 2013, of course. So we've got Eric Bloom. Don's down here as Buck Dharma. Well, we know it's Don. Richie Castellio, Danny Miranda's on bass, and Jules Radino on the drums. This was me. Really good track this is. Love the bass line here from Danny. I really like this track. This album really surprised me. Good track. Box in my head. It's okay. Nothing special though. Tainted Blood. Now this has got the keyboards from Richie Castello. Now Richie Castello is a pretty damn good musician. He's got a thing on YouTube, Band Geek. I'm sure people know about it. He's a fine musician, and he does some great work on that track. Nightmare Epiphany, nice little rocker. Love the piano on this. Great track. Edge of the World, my favourite track on this album. Great rock track, bass line. Great guitar work from Don. Solid track. The Machine, great track. Again, solid stuff. Train True, Lenny's song. I love this. Nice little track. The Return of St. Cecilia, really good track this is. Love the keyboard work here from Richie. He's a great guitarist, he's a great keyboardist, and he's a great singer. He's a very underrated musician. His wife's not a bad singer either, Anne Marie. Go and check that. If you have never checked his Band Geek, go and check it out on YouTube. Stand and Fight, great bass line here from Danny. Absolutely great booming bass line. Florida Man, this reminds me of classic Blue Öyster Cult. At the beginning, it's that guitar riff. We've heard it so many times, and it's pretty good. The Alchemists, not a good track in places, but it's got a great heavy riff with it. Secret Road, another solid track. Great riffs on this. They can still put out a damn good tune after all these years. There's a Crime, sorry. Great drumming here from Jules. Solid, good drummer. Love that track. Then we got Fight. Don's guitar work on this is just unbelievable. Still one of the best. I like this album. I was so pleased to see a new album from this band. I thought, would they be able to still do it? Oh yes. Got a good musician in Richie. Really adds to this band, and I really do like this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay then, I'm going to take a little break, but before you can say Tamam Wakanaki, I'll be back. So bye for now. Hello again. I said I wouldn't be long. Welcome to part 2 of the Blue Öyster Cult banging. So we're now going to continue on. So we're now at number 7. So coming in at number 7, we have the 14th album released in 2001, The Curse of the Hidden Mirror. This was the last album that featured longtime keyboardist Alan Lanier, of course, who sadly died in 2013. So we've got Eric, Donald, Alan, Danny Miranda's on bass, and Bobby Rindelli of Rainbow is on drums on this one. It was the only album he performed on. Great drummer is Bobby. Dance on Stilts is the opening. Love that opening riff. Of course, you've got some great drumming here from Bobby, solid as ever. Still pumping out them beats. Good track. Showtime. Love the guitars on this, especially the beginning from Donald Rosa. It's a great little rock track. Really enjoy that one. The Good Old God Returns. Nice melody. Nice vocal from Eric. Still got it. Excellent track. Pocket. The solid rock music from the band. I really do like that track. Love listening to that one. One Step Ahead of the Devil. Booming bass line here from Danny Miranda. Great drumming from Bobby. Eric's vocal is brilliant on this. He's still got that great vocal even after all this time. Excellent track. I'd just like to be bad. Not very keen on this one. There is something about it I just don't like. Don't ask me why. I just have one of them tracks. I don't like that one. We all have them tracks. Here Comes That Feeling. It's not memorable. A little bit filler for me. Out of the Darkness. This is a great slow rock track. Great guitar work from Don. Some really good licks and solo, and I love the bass line on that track as well. Stone of Love. Another great rocker. One of those classic tracks from Blue Öyster Cult. That opening riff just really gets you hooked into the track straight away. Great guitar work from Don. Eye of a Hurricane. It's okay. Nothing brilliant, but it's listenable. Good to Feel Hungry. This is a nice track. Really easy going. Great bass line. Some nice keyboard from Alan on this. Nice way for him to sign off. I enjoy this album. Not only because it was Alan's last for his untimely death, but it's just got some really good tracks on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 6, go to the 13th album, released in 1998. Heaven Forbid, and this was the band's first studio album with new material in a decade. It features Eric Bloom, Don Rosa, who's down as Buck Dharma again, Alan Lanya, and Danny Miranda. This was his first album with the band. John Rogers was on the bass. This was his last album. And you get a special performance here by Bobby Rindelli on one track. And Chuck Berge is the drummer on the rest of the track. So you've got two ex-drummers of Rainbow drumming on the same album on a Blue Öyster Cult, which is pretty cool. So the first track is See You in Black. This is a powerful rocker. Love Chuck's drumming on this. And you've got this really good bass line from John Rogers. Absolutely diamond track. Harvest Moon. Total difference between the heavier first track and this one, but it's really nice. It's very subdued, so still a good track though. Excellent stuff. Power Underneath Despair. Classic riffs. Great guitar work from Don or Buck. It's just a really, really good track. Like that track a lot. X-Ray Eyes. A little bit different here. It's got a little bit some other tracks that we've listened to. We know, oh, that reminds me of this. That reminds me of that. But it's got some nice tones on this. Really good. Hammerback. This has got to be one of the heaviest songs that Blue Öyster Cult have ever done. I love John Rogers' bass line on this. Again, Don Eric on fire. Damaged. All the keyboards on this are really freaky and aggressive from Alan. It's a little bit different for him. He really came out of the box on that one. It's a pretty good track. Cold Grey, Light of Dawn, great track. Don's guitar work on this is magnificent. I'm just biased, I suppose, but it's a really, really good track. Then we get Real World. Now this is one of these semi-acoustic tracks. I love it when you get a nice acoustic guitar and then you get the electric guitar just coming over the top. Really, really good track. Like that one a lot. Live For Me, just another solid track from Blue Öyster Cult. Fantastic stuff. Still Burning. Love these sort of tracks. Great guitars, great drumming, brilliant. I love this album. I don't like the cover. But don't judge that. You never judge a book on its cover. I mean, it was in our bad covers for Jubilee, wasn't it? But it's got some great rockers on this. I enjoy listening to this album immensely. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay then, coming in at number 5. We have the fourth album released in 1976, Agents of Fortune. The classic lineup: Eric, Don, Alan, Joe and Albert. Got some additional people on here: Patti Smith, Randy Brecker, Michael Brecker and David Lucas. Opens up with This Ain't the Summer of Love. Oh, I love this song. This is just classic Cult. Very short song, very heavy, great vocal. True Confessions. It's one of the tracks I don't like by the band. You can count them on one hand, I think, and this is one of them. Then we get the classic, Don't Fear the Reaper. Okay, it's overplayed, but there's a reason for this one, because it's a brilliant track. I love the guitar work, I love the beginning, I love the cowbell. There's just everything about this track. It's one of them tracks that I do love listening to, even today. Great track. Then we get ETI, the Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I love this. When they did this live, it was absolutely brilliant. It's one of my favourite tracks. The keyboard work on this is terrific from Alan. Brilliant track. And we get The Revenge of Vera Gemini. Love this track. Love Patti Smith singing on this with Eric. It's excellent. Excellent track. Sinful Love. This has got a bit of Alice Cooper about it, and that's what makes it a good track. It's got that weirdness of Alice. Great stuff. Tattoo Vampire. This is an interesting track. It's just a great rock track. It's got a little bit different at the start. Nice textures. Really strong track. Morning Final. Again, a bit unusual, but the keyboards from Alan just make this a bit mellow and chilled out. Great track. Then we get Tenderloin. I like the guitar work on this one. Then they get the keyboards coming in. Alan gives it that extra texture that really makes this track terrific. Debbie Denise, not a bad track. It's not one of the best ones on the album, but it's still listenable. On the whole, this is a damn good album. It's got a lot of classic tracks on this. Listen to this one a lot as well, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Okay then, coming in at number 4, we go to the debut album, self-titled Blue Öyster Cult from 1972. Eric, Don, Joe, Albert and Alan. Opens up of course with Transmancon MC. Great track, just one of them great classic 70s rock tracks. The guitar riffs are great. Alan's keyboards on this are terrific. Love that track. I Am the Lamb But I Ain't No Sheep. Just a great start, just a classic track from Blue Öyster Cult. Just fantastic. I love that track. Then we get one of my favourite tracks. Then came The Last Days of May. Great guitar work here from Don. Always like listening to that one. Some crisp, clean guitar solos. Stairway to the Stars. This is just classic American rock. That opening riff is just brilliant. It's got that boogie to it as well, and I like a bit of boogie rock. Before the Kiss, more boogie rock. Great guitar work here from Don. Great vocal from Eric. Really strong track. Screams. Now this is a little bit psychedelic for me. It's a nice chill out tune. Great bass line here from Joe. And then you've got Alan's keyboards coming over on this. It's pretty good. She's Beautiful as a Foot, which is an interesting title. Certainly got some great little pieces in this. Nice arrangement again. It's very chilled out, mellow, and the guitar work is absolutely brilliant as well. Cities on the Flame will rock and roll. Just that classic, already sounding that we get to love of Blue Öyster Cult. Great drumming from Albert on this. Absolutely stunning stuff. Then we get Workshops of the Telescopes. Lovely textures on here. Different guitar sounds. It really all works well. Comes together very strong. And the last track is Redeemed. It's an interesting track. It's not heavy. It's not acoustic. It sits in the middle, and it's a really good track. I think this was a great debut album. Pretty solid stuff. It's a little bit different, still finding their feet. It's got that mixture of blues, middle of the road, and rock. What more do you want? So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 3, we have the second album, released in 1973, Tyranny and Mutation. Got the classic lineup, of course. Eric, Don, Joe, Albert and Alan. Opening track, The Red and the Black. One of my favourite songs by Blue Öyster Cult. I just love that opening. Drumming on this from Albert is bang on. Excuse the pun. But it is absolutely brilliant. Then we get OD'd on Life Itself. Another classic track. More great drumming from Albert. The guitar work from Don on this is just out of the top drawer. Hot Rails to Hell, great rocker. I do love these great rockers from this band. Listen to this all day. It's just good old-fashioned rock. 7 Screaming Busters, really good track here. Great drum solo in the middle of it, which you don't expect. But it's not too long, it's not too short, but it does give it that live sort of atmosphere, which is pretty good. Then we get Baby, Ice Dog, very bluesy, heavy track. Love the guitar from Don on this, absolutely tremendous. Wings Wetted Down is another good track. Oh, very heavy. One of their heaviest tracks. In places it sounds like Tony Iommi riffs. It's got that feel to it. Really good track. Teen Archer. Great track. Joe Bouchard vocals on this, really good. Then we get Mistress of Salmon Salt. Quick Lime Girl. Some amazing riffs on this. Bit experimenting, seeing what they could come up with, and pretty good. I think this is a great album. This is a lot heavier than the debut album, and they were really more going into the heavy rock side. There's not a bad track on this album. It's solid top to bottom. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.3. Okay then, coming in at number 2. This was difficult because these top 2, there's not much between them. So my number 2 is the 5th album from 1977, Spectres. Eric, Don, Alan, Joe and Albert. It opens up with my favourite track ever. It's Godzilla, of course. I just love this track, always have. To actually see him do it live, it freaked me out. I was like a little boy in a sweet shop that night. It's just a great track. There's not much you can say about it. That it's just fantastic. Golden Age of Leather. Love the harmony start on this. It's just really good, and it's one of them little rock tracks that's got some great guitar licks thrown in the mix as well. Death Valley Nights. Don's on fire on this. His guitar work is superb. Just love that. Searching for Celine. Love Eric's vocal on this. This is terrific. I love the guitar work again. Both the rhythm and the lead on this is just amazing. Works well together. Fireworks. I think this is in the same vein as Don't Fear the Reaper, to be quite honest. I do like the melody on it. It's such a great hook and vocal. Are You Ready to Rock? Does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? Anything that says Are You Ready to Rock, you know you're in for a good track. It's great drumming from Albert, one of my favourites. Celestial, the Queen. It's probably that track that sort of kept this off number 1 to me, because it's the one track on here that I'm not very keen on. Going Through the Motions. Very Mott the Hoople, but there's nothing wrong with that. I love that. But then again, when Ian Hunter's written it, you know it's going to sound very Mott the Hoople. I Love the Night. Mellow sound. It's just a great track. Love Don's guitar solo on this. It's got again some of that Don't Fear the Reaper on it. Then we got Nostafataru. I can't pronounce that at the moment, so you know what I'm on about. My second favourite track off this album. I love the arrangement. It's such a moving track. Some great keyboards from Alan. What a way to end this album. Solid album, top to bottom, apart from that one track. But I play this a lot. Can't get enough of this album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9.4. So my number 1, I think it's very obvious, and it's one of them albums I think every Blue Öyster Cult fan I know thinks this is their best. So obviously the third album from 1974, Secret Treaties, of course. It's just that boombastic album. Eric, Donald, Alan, Joe and Albert, of course, opens up with the fantastic Career of Evil. What makes this track is that catchy keyboard from Alan. Really gets you hooked straight away. Absolutely belting track again. Subhuman, Joe's bass line, and then you've got the keyboards from Alan coming in. It really holds that song together. Terrific stuff. Dominance and Submission, a great little rocker this is. The riffs in this are terrific. Heavy vocal from Eric is top draw. You just can't go wrong with that one. ME262, what a track. It's heavy. It's got some great guitar work on it. The vocals are brilliant. The harmonies are fantastic. Just brilliant stuff. Then we get Cagey Cretins. Albert's amazing drumming at the beginning of this is just knocks you off your feet. Joe's bass comes in, takes it to another level. The guitars come in. It's just a brilliant track. Harvester of Eyes. Love the guitar picking on this. Just sounds great. Then you get that rich organ from Alan. Just gives it that extra depth. Flaming Telepaths. This has got my favourite solo from Don ever. My favourite track on the album. his guitar work on that is brilliant. Then we get Strominy, very proggy, but brilliant way to end the album. I think this album is great. It's my favourite for lots of reasons. It's got that's my favourite sort of American mid-70s rock on it. And it's one of them albums that you can't just put one track on. You got to put it on and go all the way through. It's just terrific. I think this is when they were at their height, in all honesty. And it's a pretty cool cover as well. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. Okay, well, we got through that. It's a little bit different. I'm hoping I'll get better as we go on. Had to take the break, of course, but I'm sure you all understand that. I'm back tomorrow. We've got Battle of the Debuts, and we're looking at 2 American hair metal bands, or whatever you want to call them, Bon Jovi and White Lion. Also tomorrow we have got album artwork, and we're looking at the album artwork of studio albums of the mighty Deep Purple. At the moment, I'll just let you know, there will be no live streams. I just can't cope with live streams at the moment. But what I will be doing on Thursdays now is just putting out a little video. No, it's no talking, it's just what's coming up next week, so you can see what we'll be doing the following week. Hopefully in a month's time I'll reassess and we'll go back to doing the live streams, because they were getting really popular, but they will come back. But at the moment I'm just taking it day by day. Slow old haul back to normal, but we're getting there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day.